Hello everyone, myself Yashoda from Silver Bells Mansarovar. Today we are going to start the second poem geography lesson from Unit-2. So the author of this poem is Zulfikar Ghosh. He was born in India before independence and he has settled in Pakistan and now he resides in the US. So this is a single stanza poem of 24 lines and does not have any rhyme scheme. So, in this poem, Ghosh talks about three things. Firstly, how everything looks from the sky. Secondly, how civilization was set up. And lastly, why people hate each other. So, before you start, can you imagine what your city would look like if you saw it from 10,000 feet above the ground? Neatly planned and perfect in proportion like a geometric design. It would strike as something very different from what it actually is. So, when you see your city from 10,000 feet above the ground, you will see that it is neatly planned and perfect in proportion like a geometric design. But it would strike you if something is very different from what it actually is. So, here's a poet's descriptions of such a view of the city and some questions that come to his mind. So, let's start reading this poem. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had. Seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style when the jet sprang into the sky. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. So the logic of geography that land and water attracted man was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. But it was difficult to understand that the men on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across cities, and to kill. From that height, it was not clear. So, the poet says that when he sees the city from a jet, he finds that the cities are not well planned. He realizes that water is necessary for various activities like agriculture, transport, business, etc. So, when the jet moves higher, he reflects that people have built boundaries and hate each other. So, the poem displays the poet's concern for the division and friction among the people. So, the poem begins with the poet seeing the city from the jet. He says that from that height, everything seems too small. He can see full city properly. Also, he finds that the city is not properly planned and is disorganized, so it has no particular shape. So when the jet reached the height of 10,000 feet, he could see that the cities were located near the rivers or water resources. So he realized that the availability of water resources is the reason behind the unorganized cities. So cities grow as per the necessity or as per the demand of the people. So people settle near the water resources more as they need water for almost all their activities. So he understands that the fertile land and water are the key for the human to live there. So he can see the logical reason for the development of the city. So drinking water is very necessary to human life. So water is necessary for almost all activities like agriculture, production, business, transport, etc. So it's clear that the earth has more water than land, and also that the earth is round. So lastly he says that why people living on the earth build walls, boundaries and fences. The poet says that human beings have a lot of knowledge about the earth, its shape, about the civilization, the cities, nation, but we have attained absolutely no knowledge about how to live peacefully on this earth. So he fails to understand that why do people hate each other so much. So he feels that people are selfish, jealous and have a narrow mindset. So the poet finds that the earth is one, but people living on it have divided it. So the poet also feels that people on this planet are not living in harmony together, so for shallow reasons. So if people decide to forget their differences and stay together peacefully, then this planet would be a wonderful, beautiful and amazing place to live. So from this lesson we can say that we shall use natural resources like land and water wisely. So we should live together on harmony and not fight with each other over small things. So in this way we can make this earth a beautiful place to live in. So in this poem the subject geography gives us a lesson on the subject, but if we study the poem well, we understand the true essence of this poem. So it is about the oneness and unity of the earth and the way it was created by God as one unit. So we humans have divided it into cities and countries for our own settlements. So here ends this poem. So I think it's clear to you now. So glossary. So inevitable means that cannot be avoided. Haphazard means without any plan or any order. So delineated means shown. So the word sprang means move or jump suddenly. Or logic means reasoning. So delineated means show the exact position or mark the border or the boundary. So now working with the poem. So first one, find 3 or 4 phrases in stanzas 1 and 2 which are likely to occur in a geography lesson. So answer. So scaled 6 inches to the mile, valleys were populated, land and water attracted man. So answer for the second one, seen from the window of an aeroplane, the city appears as haphazard as on ground, as neat as map, as developed as necessary. So you have to mark the right answer. So the answer for this question is as developed as necessary. So third one, which of the following statements are examples of the logic of geography? First one, there are cities where there are rivers. Second one, cities appear as they are not from 6 miles above the ground. Third one, it is easy to understand why valleys are populated. Fourth one, it is difficult to understand why humans hate and kill one another. And fifth one, the earth is round and it has more sea than land. So the answer for this question is first, third and fourth statement are the correct. So first one, there are cities where there are rivers. So next one is the third, it is easy to understand why valleys are populated, and the last one is the fourth, so it is difficult to understand why humans hate and kill one another. So these are the examples of the logic of geography. So, fourth question, mention two things that are clear from the height. Second one, not clear from the height. So, first one is the earth is round and it has more sea than land. And the second answer is when men hate each other and build walls across the city. So, this is the right answer. So, the main idea of this poem is that the poet flew over the city in a jet plane, so he found that city spread in a disordered manner. But when he saw it from the height of 10,000 feet, he saw the rivers and valleys. He well understood why the valleys were populated, the land, water, all these facilities attracted the people. So it was the logic of the geography. But when he sees it from the height of 6 miles, he noticed that the earth was round and it had more sea than the land. But he failed to understand why people hated each other, divided the land into separate units, and they killed one another. So, this poem is clear to you now. Have a nice day.